Welcome to Watching Worst Films, the podcast in which we are journeying back through Razzie history, watching every Worst Picture winner. This year, we are off to 2002 with Swept Away. But before we get into that, my name is Jericho Reed, and I am your host. With me, Kyle Szymanski.
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay, so Swept Away is notorious among the Razzies. It's the 2002 film directed by Guy Ritchie, starring his then wife, Madonna. And it's a remake of a beloved... I'll just look this up. Is it an Italian
Yeah,
film?
it is an Italian. It's the one thing I knew it's a remake of an Italian film, and I assumed it was not a vanity project, but an excuse to go on holiday with your then wife. That's it. That's like all I knew about it. I didn't know much about. I mean, I'm not the biggest Guy Ritchie aficionado. I've seen only a couple of his films, so this is one for me that I actually had no idea about. I didn't know about it, how notorious it was or infamous in any way. This is really quite a blind journey for me, this film.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about Mr. Razzie going on about it, and you see, like, not to get ahead of ourselves too much, but the Razzies, of course, do their sort of like worst of the decade and worst of like the last quarter century things. So you see, in terms of Razzies won, this film is quite notorious, but within the wider film world, it's not like it has a reputation like Battlefield Earth or even something like Showgirls.
No, and that's it. I'm sure I said it before when we were setting up this episode. My girlfriend thought we were going to watch Flushed Away, the Aardman film, and she was like, "No, that's a great film. Why did that get nominated?" And I was like, "No, it's more like Castaway."
Shane Ritchie's finest ever.
And to be honest, when was Castaway? That's something I never actually thought about.
It was round about 2099.
Okay.
It's close enough to this film that this may have been trying to capitalize on the sort of like Gilligan's Island survivalist thing. So yeah, this is a weird film because beyond the Razzies, I hadn't really heard of it. And not heard of it. I hadn't really thought of it. So it was only when we were looking through this and sort of saw like, oh yeah, the Guy Ritchie Madonna film, that I then sort of like incorporated it back into his filmography. Because like, I don't know, he's gone off the boil a little bit now that he is like sort of Disney, like gun for hire. But like, I'm gonna say I did like Guy Ritchie quite a bit at one point. Like, I like the Sherlock Holmes films, I like Rock and Rolla, I like Snatch, I like Lock, Stock. But this film just kind of like, they've done a great job of just erasing this from Guy Ritchie's filmography. Because I feel like no one really speaks about it.
Again, like, so I mean, my background with Guy Ritchie is I seen Lock, Stock when I was 12. And I haven't seen it since. And it's just not for me. I have seen Snatch. I keep forgetting he did Snatch. It's his most famous, I know, but like, and I enjoyed Snatch.
You like Dax, Tammy?
And my little story, I went to see Sherlock Holmes in the cinema in London, but it was only because I was pulling an all-nighter after a show, and it was on at 6 a.m. It was like the first showing. And I was cold and tired. It was in like December, and I remember the opening scene. I fell asleep, and then I woke up at the credits. So it was one of my best experiences in a cinema. But other than that, I know his name. I know of him. I know he's done other films, but
would it be an exaggeration to say that Sherlock Holmes saved your life? Because if you hadn't seen that film, you had died of hypothermia on the London streets.
100%. I was like, you can only linger about in a McDonald's for so long, you know? And I was like, oh, the cinema, that'll save me. Cheaper than a hotel.
It's funny. My one of those was Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle, where I saw Kingsman 2 at like 10 o'clock waiting for like an early morning bus. And that's, of course, directed by Matthew Vaughn, who produced this film. Back we go. Matthew Vaughn making films for you to see when there is nothing else to do.
So yeah, but again, really blind for me. I haven't even looked up much about trivia or like production for this film. I mean, again, Rambo, I could rattle on for hours when we get to Star Trek, but I just wanted to go in blind. I wanted just to see what this would be like. So do you know the budget of it? Have you looked up?
Yeah, so I've got it here in front of me. I just want to say, though, so I had to look up to try and work out where this was chronology-wise in his career. So Lock, Stock was 98, Snatch was 2000,
Hmm.
this was 2002. So this is his third film.
Okay.
And then he made Revolver in
Oh, yeah.
2005. And so I haven't seen Revolver, but I know people hate Revolver.
Yeah.
And so this, I guess, is kind of when he went off the boil. Like, first two Can Do No Wrong, invented like a geezer subgenre.
Yeah.
And then these two films sort of like despised, and then he brings it back with Rock and Roller.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't even seen Rock and Roller either, so again, because he's not for me. But you know, like I do understand. I mean, it's a third album kind of syndrome, isn't it? When you're gonna go off and do something a bit different, you're
Yeah,
Jackie Brown essentially. You're gonna change your formula quite
yeah,
dramatically and offer something different, and it could either make or break you. You know, like third albums are always like that for musicians, and so I understand that, and I understand that like the backlash from how bad this film is and how bad I assume it did. I assume it did bad. It might have been a massive success for all I know, and then that's going to put you off. You take 3 years, 4 years out, and then come back and try again.
Okay, so the budget for this film was $10 million,
Okay,
which is incredibly
well,
cheap.
really okay, because I was thinking about 40 million was going to be my guess.
Yeah,
And I see that was like, ooh, Madonna is going to have to take a. But then I was like, Madonna might have done it for free or very cheap because of Guy Ritchie, so that might have made sense. And it's all fucking two locations or whatever. There's not much cast in it. It wouldn't be expensive to get the rights to the original. It makes sense that this was a cheap film, to be honest.
yeah. When you look outside the cast, there's no one of Madonna's profile. So Elizabeth Banks is in this, but this is obviously like pre 40-year-old virgin, even like
Mm.
pre like I guess this is Spider-Man 2
Yeah,
Elizabeth
but
Banks.
it's a day's shoot for her. You know, it's not
Yeah,
she's not in it
yeah.
long.
And she's not going to cost you. She'll be like pennies to the dollar.
Yeah, and Bruce Greenwood's in it as well. He plays the husband of Madonna. He's the only
Yeah.
recognizable one. He's in First Blood, so it all comes back to Rambo. But this is this would be well pre. He's most known for Captain Pike in the Star Trek reboots.
Okay.
So like at this time, I think he's just doing TV. He's not going to be much. He'll be cheap and. Again,
Yeah.
how long he's in it? A couple of days. Shoot, holiday to Italy, easy money.
And the male romantic lead is Adriano Giannini, who's the son of Giancarlo Giannini, who played the lead in the original film.
I didn't know
And
that.
so this is his second, like this is his second credit.
Okay, yeah, because
So
I
again,
had
he's
no,
not exactly going to be
yeah,
commanding.
I assume that's quite a passion thing for him as well to reprise the role of that his dad made famous. I assume,
Yeah.
but yeah, I had no idea who he was. So and I still don't. So fair play.
Yeah. He's a Nepo baby. There you go. Okay, so with all that context, 10 million budget, how much do you think it made?
Double it. I'll go with 20 million.
Oh boy, you are off. You can half it, and you're still too high.
Oh God.
It made
Oh wow.
$1,036,000.
Oh wow. Oh, so this is one of our biggest flops then, even with such a tiny budget. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I kind of thought like Madonna. I mean, Madonna's not in my opinion, a draw in 2002, but she's still.
She's a name.
But Guy Ritchie
She had
is.
some
But
cachet.
Guy
Yeah,
Ritchie
yeah.
is, and you know, like, and I like to think of the geezer fans of his first two coming to see this, you know.
All right, mate. Fourth was swept away.
Can't wait till Vinnie Jones shows up.
Yeah, so I thought purely like the tabloid angle might get this more views, particularly when this exists in a pre like internet piracy age of like you're not able to check this out on streaming. So like Guy and Madonna were kind of like a power couple back in the day. It was like Brad and Angelina, like I don't know who
Yeah.
else, but
The thing is though, like maybe it got such a limited release because it is shit, and the producers probably knew it was shit and just dump it basically. I mean, if this was done now in 23, it would be straight to Prime or Disney Plus or something. But fucking forget about
yeah.
it. And maybe it got a limited release. That's the only thing I can think of why it would be such a small return.
Yeah, because you'd think even with like even being critically panned, even being as terrible as it is, like there has to be something going on. Because you'd think like this something has they have catastrophically dropped the ball. Like you said, the studio must have just buried this and not marketed it or something. Because for this to lose 9/10 of its budget, 9/10 of its like extraordinarily small budget,
Yeah.
when it's got like such sort of like famous sort of like
Well, yeah,
tabloid
because
gossip worthy
it
stars.
would be a safe bet for the producers, like
Yeah,
big names, big
yeah,
power couple, cheap budget. Yeah, like you'd think this was going to be a real safe return, at least going to break even. But
yeah.
maybe once they've seen the final cut, they're like, ah, fuck, we can't. And maybe Guy Ritchie didn't really want it out there either. Maybe once he's realised what he'd done. But yeah,
Yeah.
bury it.
We should have done more research into like the story of production and trying to find quotes from Guy Ritchie. Maybe we'll speak to him about it when we get him on the podcast. Like, Guy, do you mind telling us about this film you made with your ex-wife, which is notoriously hated? Do you mind going into like, was this a fun time for you making a film that everyone shat on? But yeah, so without further ado,
Mhm.
getting into the plot of the film. So Madonna plays a woman called Amber, and she is on a cruise with her husband.
Yeah.
They're an American couple,
Mhm.
and they're sort of like a wealthy socialite, upper class. They're the 1%.
Yes, they are. They're talking about capitalism and communism, and they hate the help and they hate ethnic types. They're
They're abhorrent
they're
people. Like
fucking dreadful. Yeah.
it's so racist. Like, okay. To contextualize this, the film opens with like the credits. We're reaching new levels of this isn't a film because I said to you like this looks like a beer commercial.
Mhm.
Like it's indistinguishable from like Perone's probably doing it like because some Perone commercials look like films. So
Well, they look.
this looks like less of a film
It's
than a
almost it's
Perone.
almost an insult. Yeah, it's almost an insult to
Yeah.
the commercials because like I'm sure Guy Ritchie's directed commercials or like music
For sure,
videos. He
yeah.
knows what the fuck to do. Like I as soon as it opened, I said to you, I was shocked at how bad it looked. The
Yeah.
font was like for the title of the film was
It was thrown
it was
together on Windows
it
Movie
literal
Maker. It was incredible.
Arial, the first font available.
The default, yeah, hasn't bothered to increase it. It's down at the bottom of the screen. Yeah.
And that's I did not expect it to be so shoddily made right off the bat. I mean, again, Guy Ritchie, I expected it to be, I don't know, of all the erotic films we see as well, I'm expecting at least an indecent proposal level of quality in there.
Well, that's the thing that people kind of like shit on Guy Ritchie for is that they say he's too much of a stylist. They're like, oh, it's all sort of like voiceover and quick cuts and slow mo, and like he's just too. Whereas
It's, it,
this is the complete opposite.
yeah, no, it's genuinely, I was taken aback by it, and then we were introduced to Madonna and her accent and these horrible people, like you said, and I was just dreading it. I think thankfully one thing was we kind of recapped this movie. I was thinking this could be summarized in a paragraph. This is
Yeah,
a wafer thin kind of plot. So like, yeah, we are on a boat with these terrible people and these stereotypical rather, Italian crewmen. There's some terrible back and forth between the captain and the sort of other crew members. And again, I don't even know the character's name. Adriano is the actor. He said, what was the name of? Oh, Pepe.
Giuseppe. He's
Giuseppe. Yeah.
Giuseppe. PP.
PP is Madonna keeps calling him, and she hates him. She's got it out for this guy. She just got this snobby sort of like you said, she's abhorrent. She's just she's just evil to him.
Yeah.
It's over the top, and like I said to you as it was going through it, she's so hateful that there was no way this was going to swing right. There's no way you're going to get me to root for Madonna
No.
at all. I mean, she's the worst of the bunch as well. Even the snobbiness of all the other characters, they're not as hateful as she is. She's just got this cruelty about her. She's targeting Giuseppe, who is one of the, I don't know what he does on the ship. He's just help, I guess. But yeah, like, so this is the first like 15 minutes we spent on this boat. Elizabeth Banks is kind of hissing about, and all the other couples. I think it was couples, right? They weren't friends. Did they know
Yeah,
each other?
yeah. Fuck knows,
Yeah,
Kyle. Fuck
I
knows.
don't know. I wasn't
Um,
expecting deep. I wasn't expecting Castaway basically already at this point.
yeah.
I knew this wasn't going to be this character-driven, introspective look at people and how they adapt to circumstances when they inevitably get swept away. But yeah, fucking hell, it was a strange start. I just didn't expect it.
Okay, so as you said, like the plot is wafer thin, and speaking about like about how like hateful it is, my notes are probably about 40 words long,
Hmm.
and two of those words are racism.
Yeah, like this. I mean, I know I've spoke about. I think it's my steady decline since Diana, our premiere, that I've taken less and less notes and just
Yeah,
because what's the point sometimes? Unless it's something I'm passionate about. Unless there's something that sticks out as well. The only things I were quotes and bits of dialogue and a couple of scenes that are memorable to me. But this is probably one of the least memorable films I've watched for the Razzies. I will forget this film, and I didn't take much notes, like you say, apart from racism and a couple of scenes. Just shocking.
I fear I'm not gonna forget this film. I will forget 90% of it, but some images of this film, and like I'm gonna build this film up to being just like something more sort of like singular and perhaps like remarkable than it is, because I'm just gonna throw out all the crap and make like a 5 minute supercut of Madonna being like kicked around the beach and then falling in love with a rapist.
Yeah, I mean, so as the background in my video here is the only scene I laughed at and enjoyed, and I will remember is so Giuseppe he's getting to the
Okay, okay, hang on. We'll deal with that. I'll let
is
me
it
cross off my
okay
notes.
okay right,
Um,
bring me up to scratch.
First note, Pepe. I just have that because I think I was trying to get like the characters initially, and so Amber, easy to remember, Amber Heard, Pepe, PP. He's Giuseppe. They call him Pepe, and Madonna calls him PP. Second note, racism, because they are like just abhorrently racist.
Hmm.
Like they. Like, what's your note that you have from later on where she's like, "You dirty black man," or
You
like,
black you literally black hairy midget is what she calls him.
yeah,
Which he's like neither of any of the three really. Like he's quite an oiled,
yeah.
bronzed Italian. Like tall and he's taller than her. Like fucking. I thought the racism, and again, it was really not subtle, but it had that what I kind of call a Mamma Mia problem. And it's such a stereotype version of Italy, and the mandolins are playing, and everything
It's still Mio face,
is
is that
yeah
what you're
exactly
saying?
it's all Mio face, and everybody's just speaking like a this. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh no! Even if they're actual Italian actors, which I assume most of the Italians were, they were so grossly offensive with their accents, which I assume is the direction from Mr. Ritchie. Before like even the actual racism kind of gets started, there was a cloud of racism over the film,
Yeah.
and because I did remember their journey is going from Italy to Greece, and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, if they do make it to Greece, I am dreading to see what they're going to be, like this is going to be so offensive. Thankfully, they don't make it to Greece. So anyway, continue.
Welcome to Nambla Island. We're in Greece. Man, boy, love. My friend Plato and Socrates are just getting it on in Greece. Yeah. So, my next note is loathsome because, again, just covered. This is kind of what you said. They're laying it on so thick, knowing that this film is like notionally a romance. Within the first 10 minutes, you're like, there's no way they can pull this
No,
back. Like, they have just layered this on too thick, where it's like there's no room for growth. Of you can't be like, oh, she dehumanizes him, but when she actually gets to know him as an individual, they respect each other and fall in love. It's just like, no,
absolutely,
this woman does not deserve love. If they get stranded on an island and PP cooks and eats her, he will still be sympathetic
100%.
because she is awful. Um, and like but just like everyone's kind of bad.
No, they are. They are. They're all terrible people, and it's like written and designed that way.
But even
But she's a
even the
step above them.
Italians, yeah, yeah, she's like sadistic levels of cruelty. Because I'm trying to think, like, because PP's horrible once they get to the island, and but you can't even root for it in terms of like the comparison. The jumping off point for me is I realized it's like, oh, this is just Triangle of Sadness, which great film and has that kind of like class commentary
Mhm.
of once you remove people from a capitalist system and you're in a like sort of remote environment where working class skills are more useful than capital, they turn on their head. And so but you can't root for this here in terms of like he's kind of just like a bit shitty, so you're not like he's a like a downtrodden sympathetic guy
He,
who
he
you're like
he
rooting
has
for.
no
Oh
personality though. His personality is he's
yeah.
an Italian, and he doesn't have.
And I don't like the chemicals. That's my next note.
Yeah, he
Chemicals.
doesn't
He
like.
really doesn't like
He
chemicals.
gets one little dig in when they ask him at dinner about what he thinks about capitalism or something, and he's money makes a nothing. It is not a person, and that's it. Like there's nothing to him. He's so bland.
I know like the sodium. I know like the potassium. I know like the magnesium. I know like these elements. They are not for me. Um, in Italy, we make a pasta. We don't make a science in Italy. The only sodium we are interested in is the salt, and we put it with the pasta. So yeah, it's just it's an abhorrent movie, and then like so then because he's suffering so much but not in a sort of downtrodden way, it's
Mhm.
almost like you're like you almost want to agree with Guy Ritchie that you're like, yeah, these Italians are misogynist savages, so they kind of semi deserve what they get, because then we have the dream sequence.
Yeah, this is my. I want to take over here because this is my
Yeah,
only highlight. Giuseppe's at the end of his tether. He
yeah,
speaks to the captain. Yeah, I want to stab at Diddy's beach, and all the crewmen fucking hand over their knives. And I was like, oh, ooh, exciting. But he doesn't. So what he does get instead is when he serves the rich fucks their fish, and
yeah.
Madonna complains is bad fish. He has a dream sequence where he dips the fish, or looks like spaghetti, but it was meant to be fish, over her head, and then just fucking eats her right into the sea. And I was like, oh yes, and part of me knew that this was going to be the old switcheroo, and I was going to be
You
fucking.
didn't think this is how they're going to get
I don't know.
swept
Well,
away as he
part
just
part
throws
well,
her
like that's what
overboard and has to jump off to
that's what it
save her.
is. That's what I was hoping for, and that's what. But part of me, deep in my subconscious, I knew that was too good to be true, and I think as soon as I thought it out, thought it to myself, it switched back to reality, and my heart fucking sunk because I'm not gonna get that. But yeah, for one brief second, I was like, yep, just fucking heat Madonna in the sea, and they'll all have to go overboard and try and catch her. She'll go missing, and then he'll have to go rescue her because it's his duty as a seaman or something. I don't know. But no, it's just a fucking little dream sequence, and it's the one highlight. It was an intentional laugh, I think, I assume, and yeah, and then that was
Okay,
that was it.
maybe this is where we speak about it. I do have this note for a bit later on, but it's maybe good to introduce it here. This is an insane movie to make with your wife,
Mhm.
because it's kind of, I don't know, maybe this is like, I don't know, maybe I'm projecting too much to suggest a kind of autobiographical reading. But to make a film which you tip food over your wife's head and then yeet her off a boat, I
It's
don't know.
it's something I would expect when we get to it later. It's something I'd expect the John and Bo Derek to do. I'm sure they
Okay.
could do a 1980, because they've got a weird sort of relationship, and he's always casting her with other men and stuff, and
Yeah.
not cucking himself, I guess, but just having such weird dynamics, and why you would cast your wife in these situations and not just strictly make vanity projects between the two of yous. I
Yeah.
don't understand it. It's insane why they'd want to do this, why Guy would want to do this and write this as well. Like, this is not just a job for hire, this is something he wanted to do.
Yeah, it's so odd for Madonna's point of view. Like, okay, I guess if her husband wants to make it, then sure, you'll be like, whatever you want to, like, whatever helps you get your dream project made. But for Madonna to be like, I want to play like a shrill, racist harpy who gets like sort of beaten and abused,
There's
and then falls in love with her captor. It's like it's not a fun character.
there's a
It's
part of me, and I could be speaking out my ass here, but a part of me thinks she wasn't the first choice, and like like you probably wanted to make an actual movie, and it wouldn't, who the fuck's gonna fund it? This is kind of going into my theory about the production of it, which I'd like to know more, because no one wants to fucking remake your Italian film from the 70s. I'm not going to fund this, but oh wait, I've got Madonna. My wife will do it. Okay, okay, all
yeah.
right, fair enough. We can fund it. I don't think she was first choice. I mean, she's not a lead actress in any regard for anything really. I mean, Evita and stuff aside.
So we've spoken about this as like a Sandler thing of like this is just an excuse to go on holiday. But you think Guy Ritchie was like,
Yeah,
I'd really like to go on holiday with Angelina Jolie, and you can look after the kids while
yeah,
like
no,
I'm
yeah,
wishing this.
absolutely. Yeah, well, it's a Sandler holiday, but just for Sandler. He's not bringing his family. He's the opposite of grown ups.
There was an interesting quote from there was an interesting quote where Guy Ritchie said that he cast Madonna because she was cheap and available. And like I don't know, that's like kind of like you think that's a funny, like facetious thing to say, and it just has aged poorly
uh,
because the film is as dreadful as it
yeah,
is, where you're like, oh yeah, no, that is a genuine, sincere, like she was cheap. You get what you pay for kind of thing. But
yeah.
yeah, so maybe I don't maybe that
Okay, yeah, no, it
supports your
is.
reading,
Um,
is we just can't quite stretch for Catherine Zeta Jones.
exactly,
So
and you're thinking,
Madonna is
I mean, it's 2002, so I'm struggling to. Halle Berry's not going to fucking do this, is she?
just off
I was going to
winning
say
an
she's too
Oscar.
busy. She's too busy with Die Another Day, but then so is Madonna, so I don't know.
Yeah.
That fucking goes against that. But yeah, you're not going to get an A-lister here. You're not going to get anyone relevant. You're going to get someone. I don't know in the original if it's the same age of the characters, but you are getting a slightly past your prime Madonna. 2002 Madonna. So yeah, weird. Very fucking weird.
Well, speaking of Pasture Prime, so the fish, like she speaks about fish so much in this.
Hmm.
And one of my weird obsessions, which has just been rattling around my head since 2020, within the early days of lockdown, I think I've spoken about it on the podcast. Madonna makes a very weird video in lockdown. Like, you know how the celebs lost their mind,
Hmm.
and you think like the Imagine video happened like 6 months into the pandemic, but really it was like 6 days within like 2 days of not having attention, Madonna had uploaded some weird video where she's singing, I think, a parody of Vogue, where she's like, "We don't need no pasta, we need fish. I mean, fish, fried fish, fried fish. Come on,
Well,
fish. I mean, yeah." So that was just what I was thinking, and I need to rewatch the Madonna Vogue fish video to be like, are there swept away references in there that I didn't get at the time?
I mean, maybe she's just got a thing for fish in general. I don't think Madonna's the most hinged person that's ever lived.
Well, people pointed that that was like an early like adrenochrome thing. Like you know how like pizza gators and conspiracy theorists were like, oh, like the celebs have all aged like 1,000 years in lockdown because they can't get their children. Like the Democrat pedophile ring, like Tom Hanks doesn't have COVID, he's just dying because he can't get adrenochrome or whatever. I remember seeing people were like pouring over because I think Madonna might be like, we can't get no pizza. I need fish. People, I did it last week with Taylor Swift. Not to suggest that I'm some sort of like under the silver lake, like conspiracy theorist looking for hidden meanings in like memes and TikToks. But people thought that Madonna made this insane, weird video where she's singing about fish to like try and like send some message to like Epstein cabal. But what if the hidden message was in fact a reference to
Yeah, well,
Swept
where do
Away?
you think that? Where do you think this fucking cruise was going anyway?
Their head to Wilson James. Yeah. Um, Honestly, that would redeem it if you find out that his like last shot is just like the camera sinks below the cabin and you see like her husband closing the door as there's loads of like children gagged up. Anyway, my notes tail off here. I
Yeah,
don't have anything for them getting shipwrecked.
no,
They're out on a dinghy and they just kind of get like stranded.
it is, and
Only
it's got like
PP and Amber.
it's got yeah. So I can't even fucking remember. I think I blinked and missed it, but Why were they in the dinghy? I remember them being in the dinghy, but something
I
about.
don't know why you would put two people who hate
Well,
each
no, it's
other
because
in
they
a.
missed the rest of them went out. I think, and the rest of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
crew and passengers went out, and Madonna's PP fucking ignorant bastard, like catch me up to them. So they'd go in a dinghy. It has one of the cheapest, worst looking shots of a storm. It's probably only 2 seconds. It's so quick because it is fucking horrendous. It is like 2002 Adobe effects. It is fucking grim. And then they're on the fucking island, and it's so cheap. And yeah, okay, we're just filming on a fucking bit of beach and a bit of Italy, maybe down an island off Greece or something. But this is where my notes pretty much tail off. I think we're not even halfway through the movie yet. It's quite a short movie as well, just for the
Yeah.
record. Thank Christ. But like, yeah, like when they get there, my first note is the 180 of PP, who turns from this little subservient Italian thing to just like
Thing.
like
This
what
movie's rubbed off on you, Kyle. He's a human being.
to this like Andrew Tate alpha male character.
Well, that's why I'm like we get little hints at it, but that's why you can't feel too sympathetic towards PP because I think it's kind of there in the earlier scenes. Guys like, listen, don't feel sorry for these Italians because like although we might be mistreating them, although we might be horrendously racist towards them, they are like subhuman brutes that are just like if you give them an inch they'll take a mile. They're just waiting to go wild with their sort of like
um,
violent savage ways.
and like that was jarring. Like, of course, it was jarring. Like him to
Yeah,
suddenly turn around, but
because it's like they land on that island, he's immediately
he
pulls off his
instantly,
belt
yeah,
and it's just like, oh, there's no police on this island.
because at least Madonna still has a bit of her original character for the first minute or so. She's, where's the telephone?
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my lawyer, and there's
yeah.
always a lawyer on an island if there's a
You a
telephone.
listener, lady, there are no lawyers on this island.
So yeah, that's where like it just turns into, he says to her as well, you either obey my laws here or the laws of nature. I know how to live, I know how to survive because I'm a barbaric Italian that can live in the wild.
I'm a man. Mr. Tate, he says a man, they work for their living. Whereas a women, they are just sponges. I'm gonna start a webcam business on this island. We're gonna sex traffic some girls to this island. We're gonna get a Wi-Fi set up. It's gonna be a real nice. I'm gonna do the lover boy method. Yo, Amber, my TikToks, they're not loading on here. We got no signal. Come on, fix this up, woman.
Kiss on my hand. Oh.
Yeah, I don't want this to become two men just joking about like domestic abuse or whatever the island version of island abuse, but like it's just him beating her up.
Yeah.
Like he tortures her. Like it's so sadistic.
Yeah, it is. And like, yeah, we're not here to defend domestic abuse on an island, of course, or an island abuse. And it's like, although they've made Madonna the worst character ever, you still feel, obviously it's still strange to see her just getting the living shit beaten out of her for 30 minutes and tortured and made to sleep outside like a dog.
Well, speaking about like what our expectations were for I Know Who Killed Me, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the sadistic torture porn of I'm just watching a woman get tortured for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my notes is Passengers. Have you seen the Passengers, the Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence movie?
I have not, no.
So Passengers is dreadful. You know the premise.
Nope. I can see the poster in my head, and that's about as far as I know.
It's kind of like an interstellar thing. Like Earth is inhospitable, and people are heading on a cruise liner to like a new planet, and they're frozen in like cryosleep because obviously they won't make it otherwise. And so, spoilers for Passengers. Something goes wrong, and Chris Pratt gets woken up. And he is like wandering around this ship on his own. And again, I don't think for particularly long. I think it's another like celebs going insane after being on their own for like 2 days kind of thing. He's on his own for like 12 hours. And then he's like, man, I'm lonely. And he starts like looking through the other passengers in their pods and like watches their little videos and learns about them. And he then sees Jennifer Lawrence. And so he wakes Jennifer Lawrence up and is like, yeah, like something went wrong with your pod, and something went wrong with mine. And I guess now we'll just need to spend the rest of our lives together. And the movie bills it as like a romance of like she eventually finds out that like, oh, you woke me up and essentially
Hmm.
killed me. Like I'm never gonna get to see like my friends or family. I'm never gonna get to have a life not on this ship because of you. The movie kind of builds it as like a, oh, like it's romantic, and that's just like a sort of like minor like thing of like you'd have done the same in his position, as opposed to like dealing with like the actual consequences of it. And one of my friends has read the screenplay, and the screenplay written by John Spates, who I think wrote The Mummy. He wrote something we spoke about recently. But anyway, one of my friends read the screenplay and he said the screenplay is really good and it could have been a really good movie because it's written as a horror movie. Like it's
Yeah.
written as like a Stockholm syndrome of like you have to spend the rest of your life
Well,
with like
so it is. It's an interesting concept. It's like that twist on 2001 almost, like
yeah,
being alone, like Dave Bowman is in the 2001, and having the horror aspect, like you're saying, of waking someone up from
and
a pod.
spending
Yeah,
the rest of your life with a
forcing them.
rapist
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah.
Well, speaking of rape,
So exactly. So that's why I was like, this movie could have been really good if they lent into this isn't a romance, this is a horror movie
yeah,
because you're stuck with a psycho who
yeah.
beats the shit out of you, but at the same time you're like,
God, yeah.
I am dependent on him to live.
It would have been
And
a
how
great.
am I
It would
gonna
have been great to see like Madonna have to be the submissive, like slave, during the day, and at night time she sneaks, trying to find a way out,
yeah.
trying to cast away herself, almost trying to
Yeah.
get a
And
raft or something, kill him or
and
something.
Well, no, because she can't kill him because she won't be able to survive without him. So that's
Yeah. Okay.
that's my
Okay.
thing. Is
Well,
I'm like,
yeah.
you need
Okay.
to
But
endear
but
yourself to him to an extent. So my ending to Swept Away is she sees a ship on the horizon and then just like garrots him with some pearls of like,
yeah.
great, now you're gone. Like
Or
I
or
don't need you
or
anymore.
better, she swims out and gets rescued, and is there anyone
She's
with
like,
you?
there's
No,
no
no,
one.
no. And then just leave him. Yeah, leave him to rot by himself on an island forever.
um,
God, like they're like so. There is so much interesting stuff you can do with this film. Like the
and this
idea
film
that
does none of it.
it does nothing, absolutely nothing, and we're not even at the point yet where it's going to start padding itself out. But yeah, these are like my only. So I don't know how quickly this comes to it, despite just watching it. But obviously, they're gonna build a relationship. I didn't know how it was gonna go. If it was gonna be like that 50 Shades of Grey sort of dominant and submissive
Because
roles and stuff.
it's like that. Like he's like a,
Hmm.
you will call me master.
Yeah,
We're
he
on the
does. Yeah.
red beach here. You will be on your knees in the red beach because you are a woman, and a woman deserves it to be on her knees. There's like some phallic scene where he's like, this a knife gives a life, and
Hmm.
this a knife takes life. This is a rod. This is a strong. You will a kiss of the knife,
Hmm.
suck of the knife. Yeah, that's all right. I'm gonna hold of the knife around the bottom of my crotch, and you're gonna put it in your mouth. Yeah, it's like it has that sort of weird, like certain kind of person's sexual fantasies of being trapped on an island with a gorgeous Italian rapist who's gonna like boss you
Well, that's
around.
it. So we're dancing about it, but that's how they bond essentially, is through rape. Um.
No, no, no. We need to turning point. Turning point
Okay.
first is
Okay.
the music video scene.
Was that
Because to
before
be,
it?
yeah. So I can't remember. I think he just
Yeah, it
beats
is.
her. Like I
He
think he
beats
just
her.
beats the
Yeah,
shit
so
out of
yeah, he
her,
does. He's beating
and then the
her.
music
He's
video is when he's like,
humiliating her, and then
"Oh, hello."
he says to her, "Dance for me," and she's like,
Yeah,
"I can't." I don't know why she's got an Italian accent, but she's like, "I can't dance
yeah.
without music," and
It's
he's
it's
like,
just Stockholm syndrome. She's
"Yeah."
identifying with her captor as she's adopted an Italian accent.
And she's like, "I can't dance without any music," and he's like, "Well, sing then." And I said to you, I was like, "Ah, fuck's sake, no, Madonna, don't do it, don't sing."
I
Restrain
was
yourself.
hoping that she was going to go backstage, make a coconut bra. She was going to make some lights with like fire and just do like a full Madonna stage show. If she's going to do like a virgin, she's going to have an
I
amazing choreography.
she's gonna. I thought she was gonna sing "Die Another Day" and I was gonna turn off the fucking film. But no, she screeches and she puts on a bad voice,
That
and
kind of
then
like shuffle
yeah,
awkward from one foot to the
and then
other.
he hallucinates, he daydreams.
Yeah, maybe this is feeding into your like she's poisoned him with some sea urchins or something. Like
And then yeah, he'll essentially hallucinates a Madonna music video, which is fucking
yeah,
weird.
what she's singing. It's not like the girl from Ipanema, but it is one
It
of
is
those like
some of
sort
yeah,
of
it is
slow, low tempo. Do,
yeah.
do, do, do,
Um,
do,
it's
do, do,
very
do.
jarring as well because again, like we're not really seeing anything other than a boat in an island, so it was weird to have sort of other musicians and other people around.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, so that's the point, I guess, where he.
That's where he's like, "Oh, hey, you might be good for something else. Women, maybe not only belong in the kitchen. Maybe women are good for something in the bedroom too."
And then so yeah, and then a couple of scenes later, they fight, and she runs away from him on the beach.
Well,
Is that right?
he says, "You think I'm staring at your ass?" And then like this is where I have racism and misogyny because it's just like this movie is just like the men are from Mars, women are from Venus. If like women are racist, men are misogynist, how are we ever going to get along? Because like he is. This is where, like, yeah, it's impossible to feel sympathetic for him in any way prior to him being a rapist because, like, he's just like a misogynist piece of shit. But he's like, "You think I'm staring at your ass, huh?" And she's like, "No," and he's like, "Come on, then. You I don't know why he's turning into Borat. Come on, and then you show me your ass. Very nice. Take off of your top. You show pee pee your tits, huh?" And he just like chases her around the island,
Hmm.
like
Which
like
is
a Pepe Le Pew style rapist pursuing her around the island, being like, "Take off your top."
and then like so yeah. I mean, the thing is I understand it's a remake of an Italian film, right? And as a connoisseur of Italian exploitation in the 70s, yeah, okay, so maybe I'm wrong as well. Maybe Guy Ritchie specifically wrote this and it isn't in the original, but I assume it
Yeah,
is. And I think when you're remaking a film from Italy from the 70s, you probably best leave out the rape scene. Maybe that won't translate to your Hollywood audience.
yeah,
Maybe you won't be able to deliver it with any the nuance or whatever you think you're gonna do. So just fucking maybe just leave that part out. Just leave that to the side. But I did not expect rape in this film. I I expected a fucking rom com. I expected
yeah,
a
exactly.
silly.
Yeah,
I expected the stupid rom com with like
I expected cheese.
yeah.
That's
I
what I
expected I
expected.
expected
Was
Ashton
like,
Kutcher level of
yeah,
it's gonna be just a cheesy rom com, 80 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever. Swept away, they get cast away, fall in love, realize that their physical attraction is more than their class differences and their cultural differences.
yeah.
They bond
I'm not gonna
together and
fuck
they
a
leave.
coconut, am I? No, you're the only person here. So,
So it's so fucking. It
yeah.
was so fucking weird.
Well, you pointed that out, and my note was the score is doing an incredible amount of heavy lifting because when he's been chasing her, being like, "Take off of your top, show daddy what's underneath. Come on, very nice. You will be my wife, Pamela Anderson. Very nice, great success." And when he catches her and then has sex of debatable consent, the score is just like the score is just like, "Don't think about this too much.
Yeah,
This is romantic. Listen to the music.
yeah.
Don't question the images."
And then like after this, I don't have any notes. There's montages out the fucking ass. There's them pissing about,
Well, we get
working
Mazzy
together.
Star
We get
over one of
Mazzy
the
Star,
montages.
yeah,
Over
which
one of
is
the montages.
which is a weird choice, but like maybe that's where
Mazzy
some of the
Star
budget.
also stranded on this beach. My notes tail off as well. The only one that I really have is the rapist going to deliver female empowerment monologue
Oh yes, oh
because
yeah.
they speak about like getting back to civilization where Madonna is fully just like she's Stockholm syndromed up. She is just
Mhm.
like fully in love with her rapist, and she's like, oh, like you probably wouldn't be interested in me back in the mainland in the real world when like I'm not as young as some other girls or whatever. And then he's like, shut up by your face. You're a woman. I like her. Pee likes a grown woman. You're better than these other girls. You know what? Society is too harsh on the women and their body issues and their aging. You know what? You are like a fine wine. You know, aging's a no better thing. It's just like so jarring when we're then making him like a progressive feminist.
Mm-hmm. I love that as well. Like I said to you at the time, I would a hard cut to Madonna current age, where they're exploding lips and her peeled back face. Sorry, Madonna, for when you come on the podcast. Please don't listen to this. But
Listen, I'm a huge fan. We'll have a
Taylor
great time.
Swift, Madonna, it's all these
Yeah.
pop stars.
Carly Rae Jepsen. Yeah. Okay, so now racing towards the end.
Wrap it up. Like I'm not. Yeah, wrap it up. Definitely.
They get saved. They go back to the mainland, and like, where does the ring come from?
So, one of Captain Pike's men lawyers delivers a gift, which Pepe thinks is a bribe. I don't know, to take your blood money, and but he does, and then he goes to buy a ring with it.
Yeah.
Then, am I missing anything in between?
I can't quite remember the chronology. I just remember the ending, and then I'm trying to reverse engineer from that.
Yeah, well, take it away then. He gets the fucking ring, and then.
So they come back to civilization. She kind of goes off with her husband. He kind of goes off and does his own thing, but then he's like acquires the ring, and he's been writing letters to her about, you know, like they're gonna like, yeah, I still love you, and you know what? Maybe one time I could rape you in a hotel room or something. That would be kind of nice. Doesn't have to be a beach thing. And she doesn't reply, and then. Like we get the indecent proposal scene where she gets flown off in a helicopter with her husband, and that's when you find out that he has been intercepting the letters because she wasn't not replying to PP because she didn't want to be with him. She just, you know,
Captain Pike's not letting that happen.
It's brief encounter,
yeah. It's a hilarious ending. It's not a million years what I would have expected. I didn't expect Captain Pike to intercept letters, to stop love, to stop. So everyone's going to be miserable in Swept Away 2 after this film. Pepe's going to be aimless. He's not going to be the king of a beach, being able to rape at will. Madonna's never going to feel like she's got purpose or she's loved properly. Because she did say at one point in the film she was only an absolute bitch because she was miserable and she was taking it out on the world.
Yeah.
So I guess, everyone I
was
suffers.
Only racist because I was miserable. Yeah, and so he then throws the ring into the sea. Mm-hmm. And we're just like a hard cut to credits.
Yep.
Like I was so overjoyed. Like no messing around. Like I can't remember who said it. Might have been Billy Wilder, who was like join every scene late and leave every scene early. Mm-hmm. And Guy follows that to a T of just like ring into ocean, and the ring just hits the ocean, and then credits start playing.
Yeah,
and we get the ring falling. He does not hang around.
No, he's
which like I'm grateful to that film's strength. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. That has been swept away. It's not going to surprise you, Kyle, to learn that this film won a bunch of awards.
Yeah, no surprise.
Worst actor, Adriano Giannini was nominated for Giuseppe, aka PP. He lost to another Italian, but I don't think he was too bad.
No, he's not good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to defend. He's not Razzie winning worthy. I guess you can't escape being in this film and not get nominated.
Yeah.
It doesn't help with his character and his dialogue, and the writing is pretty atrocious. But he is not the worst part of this film at all.
No, as you said, the writing is doing a lot of the opposite of the heavy lifting. The writing has saddled him with a heavy load where he's going to kind of crack under that of you're playing a despicable stereotype. So he brings a little bit of humanity. He's hot. I think that's basically just it. He's hot. So it's possible to imagine I don't know, giving him more of like an internal life. It's like
Hmm.
I was speaking about that, like having seen like Streetcar Named Desire the other day with Paul Mescal, and I was like, do I just like this guy because he's hot, like because he's Paul Mescal or because he's Marlon Brando? I was like, if this guy was James Gandolfini, would I feel the same way?
Don't you
Um,
dare.
okay, moving on. Worst actress. We then have Madonna, split winner for Swept Away, Amber Layton.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think I know you said the writing as well is it's hard to make any actress play this and be likable. But Madonna is not a good actress. There's no way about it. She's some of her accent, some of her delivery, some of her physical acting as well is so fucking dreadful. I would never have believed that it was her husband that was directing her if I didn't know it already. So yeah, I don't like Madonna in this.
Yeah, like I said, this is an insane thing, an insane film to make with your wife because they're just like, there's no affection for her from behind the camera. Like the movie doesn't really like you'd think with your husband directing it, they'd kind of want to make you fall in love with her as an audience
Mhm.
member, but it's just like so cold towards her. Like she has, speaking of internal life, she just has zero internal life. She's
Mhm.
not believable as anything other than Madonna reading some lines.
Yeah,
And I think she's better than she's been in other things. I'm still gonna hold up Body of Evidence. It's probably one of the worst performances I've seen her give. But I do think like no one could salvage this character, but she does like a kind of
yeah, I don't think,
shitty.
and I agree with that. I don't think anyone would salvage it and really make it good. Is probably far too much of a stretch, but they could at least deliver it,
For
believable.
sure.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
she's not. There's not one time throughout this whole film where I thought she was a character and it wasn't just Madonna, like you said, reading lines.
No.
So, so it
The
wasn't a
tour
nomination.
bus has
Yeah,
crashed and it's
yeah, this wasn't a nomination though. This was a win, right? You did say.
yeah, joint win.
Good, good, good.
Okay, and then we're zipping on down just because no one else is really in the film.
No,
Worst screen couple, Adriano Giannini and Madonna and Swept Away.
yeah,
Yeah,
a
we'll
hundred
deal with it
percent.
when we get to the category, but no other couple were like rapist and captor,
Yeah.
rapist and captive rather. So
And like even when they were romantically involved, I never once believed it. I never once
no,
believed it at the end. That they have zero chemistry. They're
not at all. No.
yeah, that's a deserved win.
Worst remake or sequel? One. Yeah, gonna be
Haven't
like
seen the original, but I can. There's no way in a million years it's as bad. So yeah, this could be one of the worst like remakes period.
so
So
a piece
yeah,
of a piece of trivia was apparently like the director, which was like it was a woman who directed the original. Apparently, she like basically ran out of the premiere, going like, "Oh my god, what have you done?" Crying. So yeah,
yeah.
maybe we need to watch the original, but like
Hmm.
I find it very hard to believe that this is what it was. Okay, and then worst director, Guy Ritchie. Yeah, of course,
Of
it's
course, yeah.
yeah.
It's almost impossible to believe this is such a well-known name directing this, and it isn't
Yeah.
just some person with not a clickable link on Wikipedia. Yeah, this is shocking. This is lazy. It is poorly directed. It is poorly everything about
It's
it. There's not
cheap, it's
one thing.
shitty
Yeah,
looking, like
there's
yeah.
not one good thing to say about the direction here. So yeah, well deserved for a guy.
One of the most cut and dry, no doubt
Mm-hmm.
things of where like, yeah, almost everything about this is almost just a failure across the board in terms of direction. Like you look
100%.
at everything and you're like, every aspect of this could have been done better.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree.
Worst screenplay, it was nominated for Guy Ritchie.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, I bet you this is totally gone against the original, assuming what you're saying about the director. He's rewrote it in such a shit way. Even without seeing the original, you can just tell some of the dialogue. It has got to be him to blame. He's got to be to blame
Yeah,
for black little hairy midget or whatever. He's got to be blamed
yeah.
for some of the 100%. Surprised it's nomination and not a win.
What do you reckon it's like in the Giannini household? Like, do you think his dad went to the premiere and was like, "Oh son,
It's
oh
that
son, what
it's
have you
that
done?"
it's that both Johan and Jordi Cruyff played for Ajax, didn't they? But well,
Um,
only one of them's got a framed shirt in the house, though.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't really need to say, is this Razzie worthy? Like, I think it's sort of like we need to develop like a better way to speak about these of like some films are just sort of like the Transformers thing of like Michael Bay set out to make the film that he made and it's loathsome and like well not loathsome, I'm saying that too much. And it's bad, but like it's annoying. It's like
Hmm.
it's not fun to watch, but it's competent.
Hmm.
Whereas maybe it's the battle between like bad and competent because this is just like or I don't know, maybe it's like ill conceived but well executed
Yeah, I mean that's
versus
it.
like well conceived and poorly executed.
Absolutely, and
And
like that
this
that's
is
that's been happening throughout some of these films we've watched. There's misfires and stuff that have had passion behind it. There's ones where it's just poor production values or poor directions let it down. This across the board is bad or bothsome in every single way. Even compared to I only reason I could tolerate this more than Transformers is it was a third of the
it's
length.
shorter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, and I don't like when it comes down to, oh yeah, this is 90 minutes. Like thank fuck, but it is this is so surprisingly bad. Like compared to even like Dirty Love or or Valentine or Emoji Movie and stuff. Like
Oh God,
this is
wow.
worse. This is one of the worst. I had no fun here. I had no fun.
I'm the opposite, where like it was like just watching this from moment to moment, I was never bored. I think the worst thing a Razzie movie can do is bore me.
Okay.
Whereas with this, it was just such a car crash
I,
that I couldn't believe from moment to moment what was happening.
if it went again, it's like I'm not going to say the how would you make this better because the original exists, so I assume that's how you make
Yeah.
it better. But if this was more insane or cheesier or had some sort of style to it or something to it, I would have enjoyed it more. But I was bored. I really was bored, especially by the time they got to the island. I didn't care. I didn't like these people. I
Yeah.
just want to see them die on an island.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a big, big no from me.
So that's that small fix we can make. I kind of I was thinking about it when I was like, there's no way to like the character is so poorly written. Like I don't think it's unfair to blame Madonna when anyone would struggle with it. But I do think recasting would have made this more interesting. So you mentioned it; she was sort of fresh in my mind. Someone who I think carries off that kind of like high society thing well. We were speaking about Tar, Carol. I would have Kate Blanchett
Yeah,
as Madonna. Of like she would do the snob.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
she would
easily.
be more. She's more believable as a sophisticate than
Yeah,
Madonna, and she would also be able to sell the sort of like vulnerability, the transformation of like, oh, you know what? Now that all of these trappings have been
yeah,
removed from me, I may be able to like discover who I actually am.
100%. Like I think I totally agree. If you recast Madonna, my small fix is
Wait,
similar.
wait, 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 wait,
Oh,
wait,
oh,
wait. We haven't finished it. We haven't finished it. And
all right, all right, all right.
Because it is Kate Blanchett, who sapphic queer icon Kate Blanchett, we're gonna recast the Italian, and I don't know who that's gonna be. We're gonna go for my default Anna de Armas. It's gonna be like the rugged survivalist who's gonna be like, let me show you how we do things on this island of Cuba. You know what? Like we're socialists, we're communists on this island. But and then also maybe running in parallel, the husband gets cut adrift in Greece, and he rocks up with like Army Hammer, and we have a little Call Me by Your Name where he gets stranded on the Cayman Islands, and he's with Army Hammer, and we just have these parallel like gay love stories. That would be my fix. Alternatively, like you said, we make us a bit more geezery. We have Vinnie
Mm.
Jones there, and Giancarlo, like, well, not Giancarlo, Adriana Giannini is like, you know what, Madonna, you better be making me some fish because I'm going to go down to the pub and watch the game with the boys.
Yeah, no, I would watch either of those films over this. Like I said, other than recasting Madonna as point A, watching the original, there's the fix probably. The biggest thing though, or the smallest thing for me would be if you cut out most of the 20 minutes or so on the boat and just spent more time on the island developing the characters, establish that she's a snobby bitch, establish that he's, this Italian lower class work hand, sort of play on it, build up, do something with it, basically. But the start of it's such a problem and it makes the rest of the film a problem. Yeah, that's what I'd do.
Yeah, you're right. That's without fundamentally changing the film. Spending less time on like the carry-on cruise where
Yeah.
people are just being racist and ranting about chemicals.
Hmm.
The less we know about these characters, the easier it is to
Yep.
kind of like reinvent them on the island. Like,
Yep.
so yeah, no, good call. And that concludes all we have to say about
Yeah,
Swept
it's
Away.
not
So
much to say about this one, I'm afraid.
so join us in the second half when we'll be delving into the much more
Yeah, no,
much more interesting year of
I can't
2002.
wait for this. I can't wait for this. Right, see you soon, guys.
And so we're turning to our correspondence section. And here we have an email from Tyler Van, who is also watching all of the Razzie Worst Picture winners. So you may remember we had an email from Tyler a few weeks ago. So this one.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jericho and Kyle. Hope you're doing well. We are. Thank you very much, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Same to you. Have been continuing to love the show. You have funny banter and do a good job at going into detail on the worst picture of each year and also the other winners' nominees. For this week's pick, Swept Away, I think it's dreadful, but it's almost one that's so bad it's entertaining to where I can have a laugh at it. Particularly when they get to the island and everything onward until the end. I'm a Guy Ritchie fan overall, but this is such a weird outlier in his filmography, and it's bonkers to me that this was his follow-up to Snatch. I have no clue what he was smoking. So yeah, that's pretty much in line with our thoughts on the film.
Very much so, yeah.
Is like, yeah, when they get to the island, it's certainly entertaining, and I'm like, what am I watching? Yeah, it's an ultimate what are they smoking movie because like as you said, you were like, are they trying to take a holiday? Like, what's the motivation for making this film? So yeah, Tyler nails it. And thanks once again for the lovely words. Always feel free to email in if you have nice things to say about me and Kyle. Watching worse films at gmail.com. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you.
And welcome to part 2, where we'll be discussing the other winners and nominees for 2002. So, worst picture. Okay, we're starting off. We're coming in hot here. Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Okay, so you know my thoughts on Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
I hate it. It's one of my least favorite cinema experiences. And I say this as a big lover of The Phantom Menace. I really dislike Attack of the Clones, but it doesn't deserve to be nominated. It's still nowhere near this category. What you're talking about with competency and sort of everything else about a film, it's still a movie. It's still got thought and passion into it. It's still, it's not nowhere near a Razzie film at all. So yeah, it doesn't deserve to be there.
Well, Attack of the Clones is my least favorite of the prequels, I would say, possibly. Revenge of the Sith is genuinely good, and Phantom Menace, I think, is sort of like fun and maybe has a little bit more of like kid nostalgia, like because it's the introduction, it's like, wow, everything's new. This is wild, whatever. Yeah. So Attack of the Clones, I'm most open to criticism of, but at the same time, it is a masterpiece. Like, you've got your sort of like film noir opening, like you've got like the sort of like gladiator like style, like you've got that investigation of the clones. It's just you can't really. There's nothing else to say than it's a masterpiece and does not deserve to be anywhere near the Razzies.
But no, yeah, I agree with that. Not that it's a masterpiece, but no, but it doesn't deserve to be near here.
And then we have Pinocchio, the Roberto Benigni film,
which I spoke about, I think, briefly when I was nominating Pinocchio for this year's Razzies.
Yeah.
I really want to see this film. I know I think I've read up on it since having a little Pinocchio journey. I really want to watch it, but I don't have a comment right now, unfortunately.
So one of my friends was like obsessed with Pinocchio because he was like, this was how like Benigni followed up Life is Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like he's had that sort of like massive like Hollywood success and validation, can do anything he wants. So how does he follow it up? He makes a Pinocchio movie where he, like, what, 40 something man plays Pinocchio. um, and so, yeah, it's just like a incredible act of hubris and just like, I don't know, it's one of those legendary films, but I
Yeah.
haven't seen it also, so I can't really comment on it. Up next, we have Crossroads.
Um,
So
yeah, so that's the Britney Spears one, isn't it?
yeah, not yet,
Yeah,
not
no,
a girl, not yet a woman.
I have seen this film when I was a kid. My older sister rented it on VHS. She
Yeah,
was Britney Spears. She was like 12 or 11 or something at the time, so it was that perfect time. So I remember watching it when she was watching it in the living room.
yeah.
I remember fuck all about it, and I was a child, so I have no comment. I can't imagine it being as bad as Swept Away.
So it leads the nominations.
Okay,
So I watched it because of that.
okay.
So it's fresh in my mind.
All right,
It's
okay, good, good, good.
it's fine.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
right. I
like
thought like without seeing it or knowing much about it, it's that sort of anti Britney Spears, with the media
yeah,
turning on her and ripping her to
and
shreds. I thought this was like the beginning of that.
for sure, like the worst parts of the film are the ways in which it's kind of forced to be like a Britney Spears vehicle. Like when the girls are like, oh, like we need to raise money, so let's go to like a kind of karaoke, like Coyote Ugly bar,
Mhm.
and we will raise money by doing karaoke in front of a bunch of like perverts. Who like it's set up to be like almost like they do karaoke at a strip club, and all the guys are like, no, hang on, actually they're quite good. And then like the whole audition aspect of like the degree to which it's set up to utilize Britney Spears' talents, that's
Mhm.
kind of the worst parts of it. If it had just been a road trip about some, if it had just been a movie about some girls taking a road trip, there wouldn't really be all that much to criticize. The only thing I was going to bring up to you was like Dan Aykroyd's in it.
Yeah, like I do remember. I seemed like
Dan
it's that.
Aykroyd plays Britney Spears' dad.
I was just gonna say, like, I have the faintest of memories, but I was like, is that my girl? Because he's the dad in My Girl, and I was like, I'm
He was
mixing them
just going through
together.
his
Yeah.
dad phase,
I mean, you can have
which
a worse dad than Dan Aykroyd.
he seems like he's someone who like low key like flies under the Razzie radar. Of he's never nominated that much, but he's in a lot. Like he's
Yeah,
in Chuck and Larry as like
yeah, but like even
the
in
firehouse guy.
even in the thing about Dan Aykroyd is it's hard even when he puts in shockingly bad performances.
Even when he's in
He's
that BDSM movie
yeah,
with Rosie O'Donnell.
he's still fun. He's got a terrible
I
agent, like,
yeah
but like he's not gonna. How can you really be a really bad performance as like a character's dad or something? You're not.
yeah.
If he's not a leading man. It's not like Chevy or something where you're gonna try and be front and center. Dan Aykroyd isn't gonna be front and center. He takes
Well, it's
small
just
bit part. Even in Chuck and Larry, I mean, he is like the fifth least offensive thing about that film. Like
yeah.
that's how
I
he's
work
flying
for
out.
the great mayor, Rudy Giuliani.
When you
Um,
it's like if you cover yourself and surround yourself with shit, you look better in comparison as well. So like if he was in better movies, it would stand out more, but he's not.
it's
So
just it's funny to imagine like the like sliding doors like parallel universe where he's the one who falls in with Wes Anderson. Like Bill Murray is reduced to playing Britney Spears' dad,
exactly.
and Dan Aykroyd starring in Rushmore and Broken Flowers and all these Jim Jarmusch movies. But anyway, and then another movie I watched for this, The Adventures of Pluto Nash, which I genuinely think it's hard to say if this is worse than Swept Away.
I want to see Pluto Nash. I know before I confused it endlessly with Leonard
Leonard
Part
Part
Six.
Six. They're
I
very similar. They are
I
very
can
similar, I'll tell
I
you
can
that.
see their posters and their covers and they
Yeah.
just meld together for one. So I'm curious to see how bad it is, even compared to Leonard and to Swept
Honestly,
Away.
if honestly, you could imagine Eddie Murphy going into an executive's office and being like, I want to make my Leonard Part Six. And
Yeah.
then the Adventures of Pluto Nash being the product of that, because it almost seems like it is by design.
Mhm.
It's like it's crap. Like we've got your Super Mario Brothers thing where like the production design might be okay because it's kind of like it's taking place in a sort of like B-rate Blade Runner world where
Yeah.
like the parts of it, when they're not like on like a Power Rangers set, some of the stuff looks okay.
The thought I had about it though, like compared, like, see, Leonard Part Six was a joy to watch with you, right?
Yeah,
Like it was fun. If I was watching it by myself, it wouldn't have been as fun.
yeah,
If I watched Swept Away with you in person, side by side, I would have still been miserable. I'd have
yeah.
hated this. Would have Pluto Nash been fun to watch? Like,
No,
no, okay.
because
See, that's at least something redeemable is what I was hoping for.
no, the thing for me, I think I'm learning about myself is that I am just like I don't have like a great attention span. So I need like change, I need novelty, I need like new stimuli like flashing at me. And Leonard Part 6 is great for that because there's like the frog scene, there's like montages of him working out, there's like a bunch of Coke adverts.
Yeah.
Whereas Pluto Nash is just him running around for 90 minutes. Like it's paced like it's all like a third act chase scene. Like he's just running around firing ray guns at people for an hour and a half. And it's very one note and
Yeah,
very plodding.
okay. So that's it's a notch below Leonard then. That's fair. That's pretty bad then. But
um,
is it worse than Swept Away then? That's surely the
um,
question.
I want to say it is.
Okay.
I've if I had to rewatch one, I would happily rewatch Swept Away. Whereas Pluto Nash just bored me, which is the one sin I can't forgive.
Fair play, fair play.
I can forgive, I can draw the line at racism. I can forgive racism, but I draw the line at being boring. Yeah, okay, so worst actor. We then have Steven Seagal in Half Past Dead as
Hey,
Sasha Pestrosevich.
yeah, okay. So I've seen Half Past Dead, of course I have. It
Yeah,
is famously Seagal's last theatrical release
yeah.
until his triumphant
Ja
return.
Rule is in it, apparently.
Yeah, it's so yeah, until he's returning Machete, this is his last release. It blends in a lot with a lot of the early 2000s Seagal, Exit Wounds and stuff like that. It isn't his worst. It's got quite a cool like prison breakout scene that I enjoy in it and stuff. It isn't a good Seagal performance. I mean, this is straight to DVD time for Seagal. He's getting fatter, slower, lazier. You're miles away from the golden age, the peak Seagal. I don't think it's a nomination though. If and I could be wrong, but if this is the only nomination for Half Past Dead, then Mr. Razi didn't watch the film and he's only just
Oh,
picking on Seagal. If it does pop up, then okay, fair enough,
no.
he's watched it. But yeah, then okay, if it then he's just picking on Seagal. So yeah, fuck you, Mr. Razi.
We then have Adam Sandler in Eight Crazy Nights and Mr. Deeds as Davy Stone, Whitey, Eleanor, Deer, and Longfellow Deeds. So I haven't seen Eight Crazy Nights. That's his
Okay.
Hanukkah one.
Yeah, the animated one.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
have seen Mr. Deeds.
Yeah, I've seen both. It's been 20 years since I've seen Eight Crazy Nights. I remember,
Yeah.
when I was at my peak Sandler fandom, I guess, as a like a prepubescent teen, I was really disappointed in it because it's not, I was expecting South Park or something, and it's not. It's I don't think Eight Crazy Nights, from what I remember, is as bad, but it's an animated thing. It is like a Jewish Hanukkah thing, like you said. And I have seen Mr. Deeds 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. I
Like,
want to say Port Leffin Academy had Mr. Deeds, and
yeah,
then I
I've
watched
seen.
Mr. Deeds
I
in like one of the
I
huts on the cabins.
I remember going to see it in the cinema. I remember seeing it on video or DVD, and I remember watching it on a plane as well in like 2004. It was one of the plane films. So I've seen it at least 3 or 4 times,
Yeah,
and so I remember it quite well. However, it isn't a good Sandler performance because it's a lazy Sandler performance.
yeah.
It's not like Waterboy, Happy Gilmore, Billy
Billy
Madison.
Madison, Happy Gilmore.
Uh,
No, it's not a classic.
it's
He's
not. It's not.
beginning to go off the boil here a
Yeah, it's
little
not
bit,
even Little
or he's
Nicky.
testing the boundaries of like how much can I phone this in?
Yeah, it's not that bad in my opinion. Obviously maybe it's because of later films. I'm like, oh, it still holds up a bit more compared to what's to come. I don't
Yeah,
dislike Mr. Deeds though.
yeah,
I never have disliked it. I
yeah,
think it's the turning point, but it's not the depths that you'll go to. So yeah,
yeah.
I don't just think it deserves to be here either.
Basically, yeah, I'd agree. It's kind of like it's a worse Big Daddy thing of like
Hmm.
Sandler at his best for me needs to be kind of wacky. And like while he can do the kind of like man-child thing, that's not necessarily the best utilization of him.
Yeah.
But I certainly don't think he's worthy. We then have Eddie Murphy in Adventures of Pluto Nash, I Spy, and Showtime as Pluto Nash, Rex Crater, Kelly Robinson, and Off Tray Sellers.
Oh, multiple performances.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
So Pluto Nash is bad, but he's not like ingratiatingly bad. He's just kind of fine. He's kind of nothing. He's just running around firing a gun. So like it's hard to judge his performance. I just think like Eddie Murphy can be cloying when he's playing multiple roles. And in here, he's just kind of playing a straight man. So I would almost like discard Pluto Nash, where bad as the film is. He's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I Spy, for some reason, I had I Spy on VHS. I liked Owen Wilson growing up, and
Okay.
so I think really fondly of I Spy. There's a good bit where they're like, Eddie Murphy's just like, Owen Wilson will be like, oh, so this is from a Q branch, and this is called like a techno like explosive an IED, and like Eddie Murphy will be like, oh, it's kind of a jelly bird or whatever. Like he just comes up with dumb nicknames for all the gadgets. And so Jellybird is like one that he coins. And so I think really fondly of I Spy. I haven't seen it in 20 years.
Yeah.
But remember that bit. And yeah,
I
like it.
I have seen it. I've seen it as a kid, again, 20 years. I couldn't tell you if he was a better character performance than Bill Cosby in I Spy, the original one. I have no idea, but I don't remember hating it. So I guess a lot of this will fall on Pluto Nash.
Showtime. You seen Showtime?
I have not seen Showtime.
Okay, that's the one that he's in with De Niro.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, no, I also haven't seen that. So based on the two that I have seen, I would say Showtime must be catastrophically bad. Otherwise, he doesn't really deserve it. We then have Adriano Giannini, as we've discussed, and he lost out to his countryman Roberto Benigni in Pinocchio as Pinocchio, dubbed Godzilla style by Breckenmeyer. And so I had a real difficulty reading that. I was like, hang on, dubbed Godzilla style. I was like, as in Breckenmeyer said that was a Godzilla style performance.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, he's voiced over by
Yeah.
Breckenmeyer. Okay.
So God help Mr. Razzie if he watches fucking any Sergio Leone or anything. You know, everyone's getting Razzie nominations. Yeah, I mean, dubbing over, I assume it's a bad dub, but Jesus.
Why isn't Mr. Razzie watching subs? Why is he watching dubs? If he's that's the real question here. How you expect to judge a performance, Mr. Razzie, if you're not watching it its entirety?
You can't watch a film and read at the same time, you know. He's only capable of one of them.
So Breckenmeyer has 50% of a Razzie. Do we try and get him on the podcast?
100%.
Because that's such a weird like I don't know. It's so weird for him to be singled out like that.
Well, that's it. Like,
okay.
Does he get half a Razzie? Yeah, no, let's get him on.
Yeah, we can speak about Rat Race. We can speak about Garfield. We can speak about all the stuff he was doing around about 2002. But yeah, unfortunately, haven't seen it. So yeah, no idea. And then that brings us on to worst actress. Winona Ryder in Mr. Deeds as Babe Bennett.
So this is strange for me because I like Winona Ryder. I know this is the time when she was shoplifting.
You've got wino tattooed over your knuckles.
I do,
because
yeah.
of how much you like her, don't you?
I do. I fell for her in Alien 4 and never looked back. I know this was the time where she was shoplifting, or she was sort of getting smeared before her sort of comeback with like a Scanner Darkly a few years later. I don't think she's bad at all in Mr. Deeds.
Yeah.
Compared to any other Sandler co-star. Yeah, no, I strongly disagree with this one, to be honest.
It's so weird because like I'd have been like 11 at the time, and I was aware of it just in terms of like the news speaking about it. So I was aware of the shoplifting story and that going hand in hand with Mr. Deeds, which kind of tells you like what a circus it was. If an 11-year-old who like the only other news story I can probably tell you about is 9/11. If like Winona Ryder shoplifting and 9/11 were on like
Yeah.
like on a level where she was just portrayed as like the most evil woman
Yeah.
who has like ever
Yeah,
existed.
like it was weird. Oh,
Yeah.
weird time though.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say Mr. Razzi's probably playing into that sort of like
Yeah,
tabloid
that's
sensationalism,
exactly what I mean. It's
despite wanting to.
not only are you a criminal, you're also a Razzie nominated actress. You know, he's he's just yeah, doubling down on her. Yeah, I'll defend her.
As we know later on, when he's like trying to be like a more forgiving, like tabloid free, or when he's shaming tabloid culture despite having all the same tendencies. Jennifer Lopez in Enough and Made in Manhattan as Slim Hiller and Marissa Ventura.
Yeah, so I've not seen either of these, so I don't really have a comment, unfortunately. Have you?
Oh, no, I haven't, but I've seen the poster of Enough.
Oh, I've seen the poster of Made in Manhattan, I think.
Yeah.
That's enough.
The, the poster is incredible. It's one of those ones that has like a sort of like double tagline. It's like everyone has a limit. Enough. Self-defense isn't murder.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, no, enough. Very familiar poster for some reason. But nothing to say about her. Angelina Jolie in Life or Something Like It as Lainey Kerrigan. Have you seen Life or Something Like It?
Is that one title? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like, no,
No,
it's
no, it's
not
not
two films
Life.
there. Yeah, no, I haven't. I've never even heard of it. Have you seen it?
No, so like it's weird looking at the poster. She almost looks like Marilyn Monroe, like she's blonde. It's bizarre. The
Okay, and
film
it's
focuses on television reporter Lainey Kerrigan and her quest to find meaning in her life.
oh,
So no,
if it's gonna be strange if again if this is one of those ones where this is the only nomination. I'm not sure if it will be. Don't know if it'll be like
yeah,
Half Past Dead. I'm trying to think what's 2002 Jolie up to at the time.
yeah.
But
The,
yeah, fair
about to do
play.
Tomb Raider.
That's what I was thinking, but
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you the year off the top of my head.
Tomb Raider. One of them I think is 2003,
Okay, okay.
but yeah, anyway. Worst actress, of course, Madonna, who shared the award with her fellow pop star Britney Spears in Crossroad as Lucy Wagner. So Madonna,
So,
well deserved.
yep, as we said.
Britney Spears, certainly by comparison, I don't think she's like, I think she's kind of fine. Like, she's not a professional actor,
Yeah,
clearly, but she's not bad.
but this is for the headline of having two pop stars tie for worst
Yeah,
actress.
yeah.
Like that's
We've
fine.
got
Pick a fucking winner.
criminal and then two pop stars. Yeah. Yeah. So no, you're absolved, Brittany. Worst supporting actor. Robin Williams in Death to Smoochie as Rainbow Randolph
Oh,
Smiley.
I I have not seen Death. I know about Death to Smoochie. I have wanted to watch it
Yeah.
for the longest of times, but I've never gotten around to it. Surprised to see him here, but I do remember its infamous kind of reception and stuff way back then. It's when Robin wasn't probably on the hot run of the 90s. Have started to go past anything past Bicentennial Man. I guess is he's starting to lower his stock a little bit. But no, I've always wanted to see Death to Smoochie, so I don't have a comment.
I have seen Death to Smoochie. I genuinely think Death to Smoochie, I probably have liked Death to Smoochie in a world where kidding doesn't exist, but Kidding just kind of does all of it. The Jim Carrey, Michel Gondry
Hmm.
series. Kidding just kind of does all of the same things Death to Smoochie does well, better, and without any other kind of like weird stuff. Doesn't work. Mr. Razzie just doesn't like comedians. He doesn't
No,
like Jim Carrey. He doesn't like Robin Williams. Robin Williams isn't bad in Death to Smoochie.
no,
I like whatever you think about Death to Smoochie. He's not the issue.
no.
He's good. Like he's.
That's
He's
often the
at
case.
worst fine.
Even when Robin some of his worst films, he's often the best part because it's he's a natural performer and he's got charisma. Like yeah, like strange
Yeah.
one.
I also it seems a little bit like category fraud because I could imagine another year which Mr. Razzie nominates him as a lead. So either he's trying to just pad out the supporting category,
He doesn't
or
know the
like
difference, you know.
he knows in his heart of hearts that he's not as bad as like Benini, Giannini, Murphy, Sandler, whatever, Seagal, and so just kind of tries to shove him here. Anyway, Christopher Walken in The Country Bears as Reed Thimple. So have you seen The Country Bears?
I've not right, so I've not seen the film. I have seen the Christopher Walken scenes
Yeah.
years ago. It's been made fun of. It's been torn apart. And all those early internet sort of fucking critics and stuff that would start do videos on them and.
See, I don't know, you're more online than me, or you were certainly more online in those days than me,
Mhm.
where I looked it up for this and seeing the poster, I was like, oh geez, have I seen this? Because the poster's terrifying. The poster
Yeah.
almost has that kind of like Yogi Bear, like good things come in bears, like again, Dan Aykroyd. And it kind of has that like it has one of those like weird posters. And so I
Mm.
looked it up to be like, oh, have I seen this maybe? And I saw like a frame from the film and was like, no, this is pure nightmare fuel. I
It
would
is.
remember if I had seen this.
And so but then Mr. Razzie hasn't seen it because again, this is going to probably be the only fucking nomination for the
It
film.
is,
Like
yeah.
this could be worst picture. This should be in other categories. Like get fucked. Like Christopher Walken again doing a day shoot, fucking chewing through the scenery, having fun, whatever. Yeah, no, like fuck off, Mr. Razzie. Like I'm not defending the Bears, but like you're not. You've got to at least watch the fucking film and spread it out or something. Like no. But it is, yeah, it looks like nightmare fuel and should have probably won it.
Does he do the Pulp Fiction monologue? When he was
He's got,
hibernating in Vietnam, your
if I
daddy
remember,
shoved his watch
he's
on my
got
ass.
he's got a fucking accent of some sort. I believe it's been
Oh
a long
wow.
time. It's been a long time since I remember. I do remember watching scenes from him years and years back.
Scenes from a marriage, scenes from the Country Bears. Okay. Freddie Prinze Jr. in Scooby Doo as Fred Jones. Get the fuck out
Get
of
the
here.
fuck out there! It's the best performance of Fred ever. He's made for that role.
Yeah.
Like absolutely not. That is perfect casting. I mean, the whole film's pretty much perfect casting, but like,
Yeah.
no, absolutely fucking not. Like, no.
Yeah, like again, when it's the only nomination, what does he take against Freddie Prinze Jr.? Maybe he just dislikes him because of
It's
who
because
he
he's
is.
got to pad out the
But
fucking.
like,
He needs the big names in to pad out. He needs Walken. He needs Williams. He needs Freddie Prince, especially
I think
2002 Freddie Prince.
yeah.
Um,
I think there must be that sort of like biographical, like maybe he really liked Scooby Doo and maybe he always dreamed of Big Fred or something. Like I
Scooby
think there's something where
Doo.
he specifically went for Freddie Prinze
Yeah,
when they're
that's weird.
all yeah, no, they're all good.
They're all it's perfectly cast. Like you're not gonna cast a Scooby Doo film any better ever. Like honestly, get fucked.
Okay, and then we have Stealing Harvard with Tom Green as Walter Duffy.
So this is with Jason
Jason
Lee.
Lee.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I just want to say, like Tom Green and the poster seems incredibly Kevin Smith coded.
I've not
He's
seen
got
it.
glasses, he's got the goatee.
Just because of my love for like Freddy Got Fingered and the Tom Green Show and certain things, I'm not like fanatic. I haven't watched. I don't stand on Road Trip or whatever, Euro Trip, whatever one he was in. So I've not seen this, but this would be the year after Freddy Got Fingered. So I understand why. I disagree, but I understand why Mr. Razzie's going to nominate him. You can't let him win, but you can nominate
And then the winner, Hayden Christensen in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones as Anakin Skywalker.
him.
No.
No, again, no. Like I don't like Hayden Christensen, especially in Attack of the Clones. I think it's much better in third one, Revenge of the Sith. But I don't think it's a great performance, and there's obviously terrible dialogue he has to deliver. No, though he's not nowhere near nomination. Like not absolutely not.
Well, it's just the Razzie Academy.
Yeah.
They have no taste. They're animals. I hate them. Yeah, no, I like Hayden Christensen. I think I agree he's better in Revenge of the Sith. Partly that's down to he gets most of the worst dialogue here. Like the infamous sand monologue is in here. That I hate them. That's all in here. But no, not nomination worthy, and certainly not leading.
No.
Certainly not leading. Like
No.
no, sorry, certainly not winning. Rather, like just a good humble Canadian boy. He was a teenager playing the most sort of like scrutinized role in cinema history. Never in a million years does he deserve this. Give it to Christopher Walken or Tom Green playing Kevin Smith. Not my Christian, not my Hayden. And then we're supporting actress. How do you pronounce her name? Rebecca Romaine?
No idea.
Rebecca Romaine Stamos. Mystique. Yeah.
What's that for?
Anyway, that's for Rollerball, where she played Aurora.
I think I remember Rollerball, like the
Yeah.
image of it, but I've never seen it. So
You've not seen it? You
no.
being a big McTiernan stan, I thought you might have seen.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I can see it, like I can
Yeah.
imagine it, but again, I would have been like 12 at this time, so and I've never come back to it. It passed me by, and I had no reason to go back to it. You know, it's just like Verhoeven makes showgirls. Like sometimes I will skip over certain films by my favorite directors. Everyone has to have a swept away at some point.
Then we have Natalie Portman in Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones as Padme Amidala. No, 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 no. She, Hayden Christensen, I will reluctantly concede, is a
Yeah,
little bit like sort of stiff and awkward, whereas Natalie Portman, I think, is good.
yeah.
Like, I don't.
Natalie's one of the. Again, I'm not going to say much about. I don't like Attack of the Clones. So I can't say good things, but she's one of the better performances for me.
I think she's closest to bad in Revenge of the Sith because she just gets sidelined
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
has all the like, oh no, Anakin, like she's just a stupid character
I,
in
I,
that
d-
film.
I don't see like yeah, but like I'm trying to think, and it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember Hayden disliking his performance. I remember really disliking Samuel L. Jackson just playing Samuel L. Jackson. I don't like Hugh
But he has a
McGregor's.
lightsaber,
Yeah,
Kyle.
I don't. That's not.
This is Samuel Jackson with a purple lightsaber. It's so cool.
I don't like Ewan McGregor in Attack of the
Okay,
Clones.
okay,
In
we're
Attack
gonna
of the
move on.
Clones, but I think Natalie's one of the better parts, so I don't like seeing her here. I'm defending your film.
Thank you, but Ewan McGregor is a bright spot in
It's
the
his
Attack of
worst
the
of the
Clones.
three. It's definitely his worst of the three for me.
Okay. And then we have Bo Derek as herself in The Master of Disguise.
Oh, The Master of Disguise is 2002. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because it's the 9/11 thing.
Yeah, shit. I totally forgot about that. So yeah, Mr. Razzie didn't see Master of Disguise. Bo Derek's only here because it's fucking Bo Derek and she needs another nomination.
Yeah.
I can't remember Bo Derek in Master of Disguise well. I think you've seen it more recently than I have.
I haven't seen it at all.
Oh shit. Master of
But
Disguise sucks. I remember renting it on video.
it was a weird thing. It was like my dad and my brother's thing that I was just never included in for whatever reason. I don't know. It must have been years later when I was working at Asda or something that had me out of the house. But my dad and my brother, I think, bought it in from America on DVD on like a region one or whichever the one that you couldn't easily play. And so I used to like sneak off and watch it on this little portable DVD player. And I was just never invited to those father and sons viewings of Master of Disguise. And so they'd be referencing it to each other, being like, oh, Master Disguisey, turtle guy, whatever, and just flying over my
Yeah.
head.
So my,
So I've never seen it.
even my memories faint. Everyone knows the turtle stuff and the memes out of it, but
Well, I don't because I was never allowed to watch.
but even as 12 years old or something, I would watch Mr. Deeds again. I'd put in fucking Little Nicky another time, but I wouldn't have watched this more than once. Like it's only here though. Bo Derek's only popping up here because it's Bo Derek though. I don't
Yeah.
even remember her in it.
Yeah. And then we have interesting one here. Looking forward to speak to you about this nomination. Laura Flynn Boyle in Men in Black 2 as Serlina.
Oh, okay. So obviously it's my Twin Peaks connection coming back here.
Yeah.
Donna from Twin Peaks. I am not the biggest Flynn Boyle fan.
Yeah.
Of the lead females in Twin Peaks, she's probably my least favorite. I'm glad she's not in Fire Walk with Me. I'm glad she gets replaced. I can't remember her in Men in Black 2 because I've seen Men in Black 2, but I haven't seen it for 20 years, and I'm merging so much of it with Men in Black 1.
Yeah.
I can't remember where 1 ends and 2 begins, and where's
Yeah.
Michael Jackson and where's which one's which.
Well, she's no Vincent D'Onofrio, that's for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't defend her here. Not her biggest fan, but I can't remember.
I am going to defend her because I was speaking about this the other day. So because I don't really watch much TV, I have this thing where like I'll just know like these like sort of like amazing TV people for like their like weird film credits. So like I didn't watch Fleabag for ages. So whenever it was like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I'd be like, "Oh, you mean the robot from Solo? Cool." And Lara Flynn Boyle was that. So, like, whenever anyone mentions Lara Flynn Boyle, as you said, like the default connection to make is Twin Peaks, whereas for me it's like, oh, Serlina from Men in Black 2, cool. I think she's good. I think she's sort of like weird and alien in a way that works. So
She
like,
she is weird, and like even in Twin Peaks, she's got a weird performance style where it's
yeah,
like,
Uncanny Valley.
yeah, like
Yeah,
so it probably works better in Men in Black too. So
yeah.
yeah, if it's the only nomination here, it's weird that he's just filling out names. This is a very strange year for
Is
just.
is is Michael Jackson not in Men in
That's
Black
what I just
2?
said. Yeah,
That's
I was
two,
like,
isn't he?
I couldn't remember which one he was in. I can't remember where one
I'm
ends and two
fairly
begins.
sure he's 2, where he's like I could be Agent M.
And yeah,
I've got to say, this is very problematic for Mr. Razzie, which, as we know, Razzie nominations are often earned on the back of like moral failings as much as like bad performances. So is Mr. Razzie endorsing paedophilia by not nominating Michael Jackson?
in the
Is he saying that
context,
shoplifting is worse than molestation? Is that
it,
what you're saying, Mr.
but
Razzie?
you see, Mr. Razi's dictated by headlines, and while the world wants to see Britney Spears and Winona Ryder burn, at 2002 would have been closer to "You Rock My World" comeback with like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
This is pre, and I know the first trials, but that's gone. This is the second time round hasn't really destroyed him with that interview for Channel 4 and stuff. So I think he isn't dunking on him because it's still got the goodwill for Michael at this point.
It's just funny that he has that beef with Macaulay Culkin. That like it's just interesting that he's taken that side. That's
Yeah,
all I'm
yeah.
gonna say.
But no, in hindsight, though, it's very surprising to see Lara Flynn Boyle nominated and Bo Derek and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good year
strange.
for women if you're clutching at those straws.
Yeah.
And then the winner, of course, is Madonna for Die Another Day as Verity.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, it's my first Bond winner, to be honest.
Yeah.
Jesus. She to call her a supporting actress again, it's like what? It's a
It's a
fucking
cameo.
cameo. It's a fucking cameo. I mean, she's dreadful. She is fucking. She's worse in Die Another Day than she is in Swept Away. And I don't like Die Another Day. I like the first half of it or the first third of it, I guess. But yeah, she's dreadful in it. But yeah, she's a fucking cameo, and it's just to give her 2 wins here. Worst cameo again. I think I've said this on previous episodes. Make a worst
Yeah.
cameo a category, and I won't have any fucking gripes. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird, but she's terrible. So I I do agree with it, I guess.
I don't think she's that bad. um, I think it's almost irrelevant how bad she is because she's just in it so little that there's no point in discussing it because you can't award like Natalie Portman is almost like Natalie Portman is basically almost like a second lead in Attack of the Clones,
Yeah,
and Madonna is in it for like 2 minutes.
yeah.
So for them to be sharing a category is just stupid and ridiculous. And then yeah, but just goes to show like good year for actresses, I guess, if he's like clutching at these straws with nominating
Yeah, but
cameos
this is it.
and Bo Derek and
Mr. Razi and category fraud go together so well. You don't need, you know, like you just.
two great taste great together. So we're screen couple. We then have Britney Spears and whatever his name was, Anson Mount.
Oof, that's very sassy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very snappy. Uh, okay,
I know.
is it bad?
Anson Mount's a little bit forgettable, and they don't have great chemistry together. So guess, I guess, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. No need to shit on Anson
Yeah, it just
Mount,
seems
like,
awful cruel just to
but
whatever his name.
yeah, the nomination itself isn't fundamentally undeserved, I guess.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy and either Robert De Niro in Showtime, Owen Wilson in I Spy, or himself cloned in The Adventures of Pluto Nash. I would say pick a lane, Mr. Razzie.
Yeah. Again,
He's him and Owen Wilson are good together.
yeah.
I like their chemistry. I would watch more films with the two of them. Don't know about De Niro, and yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
We then have Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Fundamentally, it just pains me to see the prequels associated with the Razzies. But if you're gonna do anything,
If they're gonna win or be nominated for anything, and I agree with you, it's this. Like,
yeah, they
this is
don't
the one
work
you
well
can't.
together.
Even you, the fanatic hardcore defender, cannot like stand up and say, "Oh no, they've got great chemistry. They just bounce off each other fantastically." They are so wooden and yeah, like you say, there's no spark between them. This is the first Star Wars nomination that for the prequels or whatever that I completely agree with.
Well, I don't know. Wait, let me just pull this back in. It almost maybe it's intentional because like he's like a repressed cult member, and she's also like a politician who has been like working since the age of 12. So maybe it makes sense they're still in an awkward and have
Not
no sort of chemistry together.
Natalie
Maybe
Portman
it's
had more
intentional.
chemistry when it was Jake Lloyd, you know. No, no, no.
And then we have Roberto Benigni and Nicoletta Braschi in Pinocchio. I'm curious who Pinocchio would be. Like, who's she in Pinocchio? I can't see. That's their real life married, so
Oh, okay.
that's her actual husband.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we need to watch Pinocchio.
I think we do.
And then the winner, of course, Adriana Giannini and Madonna, Swept Away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, worst remake or sequel? Star Wars: Attack of the Clones. No. Pinocchio. Haven't seen. Mr. Deeds. Have you seen the original Mr. Deeds?
Mr. Deeds Goes to Washington, I think it's called. I think there's a couple of early ones. I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I've seen one called Mr. Deeds Goes to Washington.
Mr. Deeds Goes to Town. It's the original, apparently, the Frank Capra one.
Okay, I've seen one of them as as young kid. So one of that like Miracle on whatever street.
Yeah.
I've seen the original. Again, I like the remakes. Like I like the Sandler. I don't dislike it. I don't think the original would hold up to 2002 standards. So yeah, no, I don't think this is warranted.
And then we have I Spy.
I've not seen the original's a TV show as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so Mr. Razzie loving sitcoms from that era, whatever. Like I can't comment really because I haven't seen the source material. If I felt really fondly towards the source material, like I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine like if someone made like an Always Sunny movie like 30 years from now, then maybe I would feel more precious of that, but not knowing the source material.
We'll see if it pops up with what was it, Get Smart?
Yeah,
like the spy TV, both parodies and sincere ones are dime a dozen in the 60s and early 70s. So I wouldn't be able to tell it apart from Man from U.N.C.L.E. or Mission Impossible or Get Smart. Like I never watched any of them.
So worst director, Ron Underwood for The Adventures of Pluto Nash. Yeah, don't really agree with Eddie Murphy, but this is a complete failure as a project surrounding him, so 100% deserved.
Fair.
George Lucas for Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. No. He's a pioneer. He would define blockbuster cinema for the next 2 decades. You don't get an MCU without George Lucas. And then we have Tamra Davis for Crossroads, probably also undeserved. Roberto Benigni for Pinocchio, we've not seen. I don't really like Life is Beautiful, to be quite honest with you. So
okay, fair.
I can see this being bad. And then, of course, Guy. So don't put my boy George in the same category as Guy. Speaking of which, worst screenplay. Swept Away, Guy Ritchie, covered at length. Pinocchio, screenplay by Vincenzo Cerami and Roberto Benigni. Crossroads, written by Shonda Rhimes. The Adventures of Pluto Nash, written by Neil Cuthbert. Truly a bad screenplay.
Yeah.
Just running and screaming. And then winner, Star Wars Attack of the Clones, screenplay by George Lucas and Jonathan Hales. So despite sort of like bad lines, like sand, it's irritating and coarse and it gets everywhere, I don't think it's a bad screenplay.
I don't think it's a good screenplay.
I think it is.
I don't think it wins. I don't think it's a worse screenplay than Swept Away.
Nowhere near.
Nowhere
night
near.
Night and day.
But it does mean he's a winner and we can get George Lucas on the podcast.
Oh my god, I would be so starstruck. Not for being like the man who like I don't know, revolutionized like blockbuster cinema as we know it, but for the man who wrote Attack of the Clones. Wow.
And I get to talk to him about Red Tails. I can't wait.
So Jonathan Hales, the co-writer, who I've never seen discussed before, because that's one of the criticisms people make of the prequels, was they're like, George Lucas surrounded himself with too many yes men. He needed more like co-collaborators, like on the original trilogy. He had like his wife, he had like Markland,
Yeah,
he
well,
had like
I think,
Kasdan.
and I could be wrong here, you're the prequel expert, but I thought that Phantom Menace got the most of that criticism. I thought he solo wrote Phantom Menace, and then it would make
Yeah,
sense there would be a co-writer to sort of, oh fuck, how do I make something out of this and appease some of the criticism?
yeah,
Um,
you
but
could be right there.
I don't know anything else Hale's written. Never heard
So
of him.
Hales is like a playwright. He wrote a bunch of the Young Indiana Jones series.
Okay.
But interestingly, he also wrote The Scorpion King, which just so happened to be out in 2002, which glaring by its omission, I would
Very,
say.
very glaring. Yeah, that's a surprise. I like
Yeah.
the Scorpion King. I don't think it's as bad as the Mummy
I
Returns.
I saw it for what would have been my 11th birthday party was,
Yeah,
was watching The Scorpion King.
it's fun. I thought it was fun, but in terms of I would expect to see The Rock and stuff here just on name value, not on merit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I totally forgot about that.
And particularly in the worst remake or sequel, you'd think
Yeah,
you'd think he would.
I think it would at least pop up. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Strange.
And then we have the return of Kyle's favorite category. I need to look up. This might be the last year they did it.
Oh
Worst
no.
original, because it disappears roundabout here. I'll look it
Yeah,
up for
yeah.
you. Worst original song. So this should just be called the Crossroads Award because we have Overprotected from Crossroads by Max Martin and Rami.
Mm-hmm.
So Overprotected is just a Britney Spears song,
Mm-hmm.
like played on the radio, like just like I didn't even really associate it with Crossroads,
Okay.
but she performs it over the closing credits. So
Okay. Yeah. No comment for me.
yeah, it's fine. It's a Britney Spears song. I think it's kind of like good. Yeah. And then we have Die Another Day from Die Another Day by Madonna and Merwais Ahmed Sai.
Not winning. Nominated.
No, nominated.
Absolute joke. I hate this song. I think I've spoke to you at length about how much this isn't my. I don't even think this is right. So that's my least favorite Bond song. Period. Maybe there's a couple that I really don't like as well, but
I hate the Sam Smith one.
I was just waiting to say the Sam Smith one robbed us of Radiohead, and it's so fucking
Oh
lazy.
yeah, that one's so good. Yeah, yeah.
And it's I hate how he boasted it, how he did it in 15 minutes.
Well, they were also the first gay person to win an Oscar, lest we forget.
Yeah, but but anyway, I hate Die Another Day. I hate how unfitting a Bond song is as well. I really think it's great, and I hate the synthesized vocals. I hate it. I hate it. Even as a kid, even when I was a dumb kid, I just remember, especially because the Pierce Brosnan ones are just banger after banger. You've got GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, and World and It's Not Enough are all great songs or good songs at times. I hate Die Another Day. I wish it won. I think if anything, Madonna deserved to win this year. This is her worst crime. Yeah, God, I'm surprised. I'm surprised it didn't win.
Okay, so my favorite Bond song is, of course, You Know My Name by Chris Cornell from classic Casino Royale. And lots of people hate that because they're like, you know what, whatever song, but it's not a Bond song. And I'm like, yeah, if every Bond song has to be sung by Shirley Bassey and has to have like strings,
so I'm gonna get on my high horse here because I'm the Bond fanatic, the two of us. You Know My Name isn't a good Bondian song, but it's a fine song and it fits perfectly, right?
Yeah.
My girlfriend Sophie's favorite Bond song's Another Way to Die by Jack White and Alicia Keys, which gets a lot of criticism as well. But it's a good song and it's got Bond moments in it. So for the record, my favorite two are The Living Daylights by a-ha, because I think it's fucking ace, and On Her Majesty's Secret Service by John Barry, which is Ennio Morricone, beautiful instrumental, it's bombastic and fantastic. So I don't think they need to be Shirley Bassey, Tina Turner songs all the time. I love Duran Duran's song From A View to a Kill. I love my band Wings. I love Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
There's so many varieties, but for me, what I mean by a Bond song is as long as it fits the film or like the theme or it feels right. And I think Die Another Day and whatever Sam Smith one, Writing on the Wall, just did not feel like they were in that film. They felt like overdubbed on almost.
I think Die Another Day fits a film in which a Korean man becomes Toby Steven, a car disappears,
It doesn't, right? So
a
again,
laser melts a polar ice cap.
Die,
I
Die,
think it fits.
Die Another Day is my second least favorite Bond film behind Octopussy. I really dislike Octopussy. Moonraker. There's a few newer ones that I just really dislike. I do stand by the opening of Die Another Day though. When Bond's trapped in North Korea.
Well, I like Die Another Day. Let's just be clear.
Yeah, okay. I think it falls off a cliff. It gets up its own ass. There's stuff about it I would have thought to see this year more than just the song. But yeah, like Die Another Day, the song doesn't fit the opening. That's almost what I'm meaning.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I might need to scrutinize that a bit more.
When you've got something like Adele Skyfall fits the opening of Skyfall.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
You know, My Name fits, GoldenEye fits, all these ones.
Yeah.
You go to your
it works
cold
within
open.
the context of the film. Yeah,
the cold opening, not the whole film, just the cold opening and the first third or whatever. If it fits into that, then you're a good Bond song to me.
Whereas I think for me, I'm like Die Another Day, kind of weird, overblown, odd, but yet in a way somewhat enjoyable. That I think it represents the film, but I will perhaps concede that it doesn't suit the moment it arrives in the film.
It brings it to a thunderous halt as well.
Yeah.
I hate it. I'm not going to defend it in any way.
Well, I lost out to a song which absolutely does define the film. I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman from Crossroads by Max Martin, Rami, and Dido Armstrong.
Oh, is that Dido?
That's the Dido,
yeah.
And not Dido Harding.
She's coming on the podcast.
So, Miss Harding, the failures of Test and Trace. Do you believe they were Razzie worthy? Yeah. No, this is like again, it's a good song, and it sums up the movie. Yeah. She isn't a girl. She's not yet a woman. She's at a crossroads in her life. Yeah.
So Madonna got robbed of an award here then.
Yeah, Mr. Razzie just has no idea what the fuck is going on. He hates teenage girls. We've discovered this. And so that just makes the lack of a Harry Styles thing all the more puzzling, because that is entirely on brand with who and what Mr. Razzie is. But I looked it up for you, and so Worst Original Song was brought back specifically for this year.
Oh.
Wiki Wiki Wild Wild West was the last actual winner, and then it disappeared for 3 years, and he brings it back just for 2002.
Just for Britney, yeah. Yeah. Jesus. Again, like when you're dogpiling on with the media, like you have no fucking integrity. You're just, I fucking hate it sometimes. The award should always be there for the record. It should never have gone away. And if you bring it back and don't give it to Die Another Day, then fuck you.
And then we're ending on a high with one of his weird cop-out awards that he makes up for a year and doesn't take off. Most flatulent teen-targeted movie.
Okay.
So listen, he can't mean flatulent in a literal sense, because some of these just make zero sense.
Yeah, so
I think he's just saying movie aimed at young people.
Okay.
It's the Boomer Award for things which aren't aimed at me.
Okay.
First nominee, XXX.
No. It is a targeted movie for like teenagers in the male demographic, but like it doesn't have farts in it. Like, what's this award mean? And why is XXX just showing up now? Like, what?
Okay, next one, Scooby-Doo.
I mean, do you want your Scooby-Doo to be fucking aimed at boomers? You know, like...
I think Scooby-Doo does have that one flatulent where they're like, hey, man, like, blow my finger, Scoob.
Okay, so yeah, it's got a fart joke in it. But like...
that one at least has one more than XXX has.
Okay.
Then we have 8 Crazy Nights.
Yeah, it does have a fart joke in it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Crossroads.
No fart jokes.
I just watched this, but I wasn't watching it from the point of view of looking for any flatulence-based humor. So nothing stuck out to me. Dan Aykroyd might make one as Britney Spears is going out the door, for all I know.
He is meaning is he just being stupid and got the wrong word? Because is he just, what does
Well,
he mean
yeah,
by
that's
this?
what's so puzzling. Where I'm like, does he mean like, is the fart a metaphor for its bad smelling and sort of like fades away, or but the winner is Jackass the movie,
I mean,
which makes you think that he might mean it in the most literal
yeah, okay, so
scatological way.
which technically, yeah, I guess. I mean, it is the most flatulent movie on the list or in any of the nominations. I is it just showing his boomerism? I mean, I didn't. So Jackass is a Razzie winning film now. You know, like,
Yeah.
uh, what the fuck did?
That's why I just love how, like, you're not angry, you're just puzzled. I think watching your face here, it just seems like you're genuinely really confused for what
I'm trying
he's.
to work it out. How do you award this? Like, what? Yeah, what the fuck? No, I mean,
Show
yeah,
your goddamn working, Mr. Razzie.
yeah,
Like,
like
what do you
explain this.
mean? English
Um,
motherfucker. Do you
yeah,
speak it? Like, what?
I wonder if there's any follow up or if he spoke about this in any way or like I really don't get this one. Like, so
So I know you said he's not welcome on the podcast. Is he now welcome? What everyone else is going to be coming at him for, like, listen, Mr. Razzie, why do you nominate a 12-year-old? And we're going to be like, okay, in 2002 you made up a category, and I don't think it makes much sense. Do you mind
so
explaining what you were kind of
so
going for?
so does that mean like what's his name? Who's the director of Jackass again?
Oh, you're not meaning Spike Jonze. You're meaning the
No,
guy
it's
who actually
TV.
Jeff Tremaine.
Jeff Tremaine. Does that mean Jeff
Yeah.
Tremaine? We have to get Jeff Tremaine the most flatulent teen target movie award. Well, how do you? What the fuck? Um, yeah, I don't fucking hell. No, like, yeah, this is just a nod to
That's going
get
to
the
be
winner.
That's going to be how you bankrupt Mr. Razzie. Is you're like, you need to give it to Spike Jones, you need to give it to Johnny Knoxville, you need to
Cocktail,
give it to Pontius, you need to
every single one.
every member, posthumous Ryan Dunn Razzie for
Everyone but Bam's gonna get their award.
yeah, it's just I don't
I
like,
don't.
I don't know. Make like, if he makes it like, if he's a little bit more clear and like worst movie targeted at teens or
Yeah,
like whatever, then
That's fine.
sure.
And then I would
If
get
you
it.
want to award Jackass, whatever, go
Yeah,
for it. Fill your boots.
but you've not
But like,
watched it.
make it clear what you're doing.
Yeah, like.
Help us understand. Like, that's all I want to. That's all I want, Mr. Razzie.
He's just
I
showing
just
his
want to
fucking.
understand what you're doing.
That's what you're saying. I'm surprised like Scorpion King's not in this category because this is just films I haven't seen because I'm fucking an old man that doesn't have any pleasure in life. Jesus. How is Scooby Doo in this category? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Okay, and on that note, we have chalked off another year. So I hope you have enjoyed listening. If you want to get in touch, then we are watchingworstfilms@gmail.com. So if you understand what Mr. Razzie was trying to convey with the most flatulent teen targeted movie, half of which don't include any flatulence, if you have any better interpretation on that than us, please send us your thoughts. Get in touch with any other comments or criticisms of any of the movie, the podcast. We'd love to hear from you.
absolutely.
You can follow us on social media where we are watching Worst. And next time we will be back with Sir Laurence Olivier, Sir Larry's War epic Inchin from the 1980s. I'm not going to look up what year. I want to say 83.
It's a film I've put off for the longest period of time now. I keep delaying it.
Yeah.
Oh no, let's watch fucking Swept Away and Dirty Love and Rambo. I'm dreading this. This is.
But we're going back to war, Kyle.
We're going back.
We're
to
going
war.
back. And this time, do we get to win?
Yeah, but you know what? I haven't seen it. It could be a pleasant surprise. It can't be worse than this.
It'll be a change of pace for sure.
Yeah, like that's something to look forward to. Be more to talk about, I think, as well, which will be nice. And there'll be no flatulent teen targeted movie awards from '83. So yeah.
Porky's 5. Well, join us for that.
Thank you very much. See you guys later.